Hi, everyone. Welcome back to SIP Podcast. Happy to have you here. I am here with Michelle Lee today. She is a spiritual badass, basically. She's going to go into all sorts of different things and just share about what she's developed, what she has to offer. She is going to go into some pieces that I haven't ever talked about on this podcast around the concept of Sophia and this, feminine mystical magic. So she'll share a little bit more about that. But first of all, hi, Michelle. Nice to have you here.
Oh, it's my honor and delight to be here, Maya. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to give my listeners a little bit of a background, would you mind sharing just a little about yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have been in the coaching industry for almost 30 years. I actually started in teaching hypnobirthing,
Oh, wow.
hypnobirthing 27 years ago, teaching women self-hypnosis to have painless childbirth. And that's
Wow.
where my journey started in understanding the feminine, the power of the mind. And now, today, fast forward through years of supporting women and falling in love with themselves and releasing some of those um, uh, stories and illusions of shame and wounds of guilt and fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. And now today I am still a coach, and I have co-founded the Sophia Bistri School with my daughter, where we host retreats.
Mm,
We help men and women discover who they are at a spiritual basis. My goal, my vision, is to, for myself, close the gap between spirituality and the real world. Not spirituality, spirituality and the real world,
Yes.
right? Air quotes for the real world, that separation, and bringing the two together and being our full spiritual selves in the 3D reality.
Wow, beautiful. Yes, that sounds incredible. I think that's the hard thing for a lot of people to get to is how do I make spirituality an all-encompassing lifestyle, right? Like, how is that the lens that I walk through the world with, instead of it just being a practice that I tune into here or there or when it's convenient or when I
Mhm.
need extra help, right?
Exactly.
So that sounds very needed and like a beautiful, beautiful practice.
Thank you. Thank you. It is needed. I remember years ago reading The Holographic Universe. Are you familiar
Hmm.
with that book?
I am, yes.
And I would read certain passages and I would just start to cry. I would just feel this emotion welling up,
Mm.
going, yes, 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 this is truth. This is truth. And then I would think, how do we make this practical? How
Hmm.
do we bring this truth of our expansive vastness of
Mm.
who we are as spiritual beings into practicality? And so
Yes.
that's what I'm doing now.
Yes, that's amazing. And I'll ask you some questions in a little bit about like the how that actually looks, right? The concrete practices of that. First, I want to get into a little bit more about the Sophia Mystery School. Would you mind filling me and my listeners in on what does that mean? What does that mean for you? Where did that come from, and
Yeah.
what does that look like now?
The Sophia is the divine feminine.
Hmm.
The Sophia in the Bible, the Songs of Solomon, the
Hmm.
songs that Solomon wrote, was writing to the love of his life, Sophia, who is the divine feminine, the wisdom. Sophia means wisdom. And she is the divine mother that we lost in our religions. It was taken out of our experience. And she is the wholeness of the wisdom. Some people say that the Sophia is the divinity and she birthed all of earth, and
Mm,
who we are in as as incarnated beings, we are the masculine aspect of
mm,
her, because becoming physical, we get to be active beings.
Right.
We don't get to just like lay on the couch and be in our feminine all of the time.
Yes.
Everything takes effort. If we want a meal, it's going to be effort. It takes some effort. And so that is the Sophia, the divine mother, the wisdom of God. She
Mm.
is the womb from which we all came.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So in the Sophia Mystery School, is it mostly focused on those teachings or on her or on the feminine, or what do you go into in that school?
Well, the first premise of any mystery school is know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we focus on. We focus on healing what I call the core wounds, which
Mm-hmm.
I developed this practice over my years of coaching, healing and releasing those four core wounds that we incur by becoming physical beings,
Mm.
right? And those are shame, guilt, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, and embodying the divine truths, which are those opposites, that I am good, I am innocent, I am lovable, I am wanted,
Mm.
all of that. So we focus on that. We also focus on expansion through sacred sacraments or plant medicine.
Mm.
That those are like the for me and my daughter Megan, and for our family, it has rippled out. Um, Being able to sit with sacred sacraments such as ayahuasca
Mm-hmm.
has revealed to us who we are.
Yeah. It'll do that.
And it is like, right? It's like 20 or 40 years of anything else you could do, right?
Yes.
Therapy, right? It's a revelation. And so that's also what we do in the Sophia Mystery School is retreats, medicine,
Beautiful.
sacred sacrament retreats, and teaching people how to tune into their own psychic abilities beyond our five senses, stepping into the six senses, and honoring our clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, our empathic abilities, and seeing them as a power instead of something that we have to now hide from the world. That
Mm-hmm.
so many things I see spiritual beings, spiritual seekers really getting stuck in is like, oh, I'm so sensitive, I pick everything up, I just have to stay out of it. No,
Right.
we're here to transmute that. And
Yes.
so
Alchemize it. Definitely. Yeah.
alchemize it, absolutely. So that's what we do in the Sophia Mystery School, kind of in a nutshell.
Beautiful. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like, I think when I envision like a spiritual journey or a spiritual awakening or whatever you want to call it, remembering, it is that process of getting to know yourself first and doing the shadow work and understanding the patterns and the core beliefs and the wounds and all of that, at least to a certain extent, and then moving into ceremonial practices and plant medicines, and then that just like launches you a million miles an hour. And then on the other side of that, it's the integrating and learning how to hold that instead of, you know, right, what you said, like people think they're too sensitive, so they retreat. And I see that so often.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh gosh, I have, that's too triggering. I need to stay away from it. Or, I can't
Yeah.
be around people and their energies. I just have to go live in the middle of the woods. And, we all need that sometimes, but the point is to gain these awarenesses and then be fully in this 3D reality so that we can, help bring the other people up and out, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love you mentioned shadow, and that's truly, we do shadow integration work too, and
Yes.
really learning our full power and falling in love with that shadow aspect of us.
Yes.
Because we are spiritual beings, and our spirit came here to experience all of the glorious experiences on this planet.
Mm,
Anything goes on Earth. I mean, I
yes.
imagine that like the galactics have a nickname for Earth, and it's anything goes Earth, right? Because you get to play in whatever realm you want.
Yes.
And as a spiritual being, our spirit wanted to play in the depths of the darkness,
Hmm.
as even more so than the light, because we came from the light.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we knew. And it was like, oh, let's go to earth and have that experience. And now we get the joy of
Right.
remembering who we are. And that was one of the experiences in medicine, is understanding that the greater our forgetfulness,
Mm-hmm.
the more joyful our remembrance. It's like,
Yeah.
angels sing,
I
right?
love that. Yes. Yes, that's so true. You do have to go into the depths to appreciate that. And the light gets boring, you know. We can stay up there for as long as we want, but it gets old after a little while. I definitely believe that. And, you know, then soul contract or whatever you want to call it, we come into this life and we go through the ringer. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's the fun part. That's the part that, you know, if you can keep yourself from getting caught in it and just kind of, you know, witness it and observe it. That's one thing that, you know, plant medicines has been the most helpful for me personally with, is like befriending those hardships, right? And then being like, oh wow, what a gift. And you know, what a lesson and a wisdom moment to be able to bring into my life and working with my clients and things like that. I imagine you've probably had some similar experiences.
Definitely, definitely. It's such an honor to get to have these experiences, right?
Yeah.
And to know, without those dark nights of the soul, or whatever you want to call them, we wouldn't know our power. Like,
Hmm.
we definitely know thyself. Sometimes the greatest ability to know ourselves comes through those dark experiences, and
Yeah.
learning to alchemize them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, that sounds really needed, you know, the work that you're doing and the Sophia Mystery School. And I think that, you know, I've noticed people opening up more and more to it. Do you feel like that's true? Have you seen, you know, you've been doing this for, what did you say, 27 years kind of in this realm? Have you noticed a greater awakening to it? Has it gotten watered down? Like, how do you view how it's changed over the years?
Hmm. Has it gotten watered down? No, I think there's a lot more clarity. I think
Mm.
it all exists, but for some people, it's probably gotten really watered down.
Right.
For me, I think there's greater clarity. We had the awakening, like with the law of attraction coming out, like,
Yeah.
the different movies that, I can't even think of the movie.
The Secret. Is
The
that,
Secret,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, The Secret coming out, and that came out about the time of What the Bleep Do We Know, which was
Yes.
more on quantum physics,
Right.
which is my favorite, more
Yes.
so. The
I've never
What the
actually
Bleep Do We
even
Know.
seen
Oh,
The Secret. I've only seen What the Bleep Do We Know, because The Secret has, I'm like, I don't know. As soon as I learned about it, I was like, this is just not even true. I'm gonna just surpass that one and go on to other things.
yeah, yeah. The Secret was, I feel like, really watered down,
Right,
right?
exactly.
And it gave people a sense of newfound power, like, oh, maybe I can have what I want. But because there was so much left out of it, I think, along with the new age spirituality, it left people wanting for a lot and
Yeah.
feeling defeated,
Mm,
and maybe blaming themselves, and doing a number on their self-esteem. And
mhm.
that's why, now that we hear so much more about the shadow,
Yes.
and doing the shadow work, that's what really helped me to really tap into my power, when I went, oh wait, thing I have right now, I manifested. Even the parts that I say I don't like, I manifested. Those were just my unconscious manifestations.
Hmm.
But I'm never being deprived. Never am I being deprived. All of my desires are being fulfilled.
Mm.
I'm just not always conscious of that being a desire,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so that just brings, having that kind of clarity come in, and um and the different rituals, and making my spirit my number one top priority, right?
Yes.
Not like, oh, if I have time for spirit, but first I have to pay the bills, right?
Yes. Right.
Is, if I make my spirit number one, that's what pays the bills in the end.
Yes.
That's what aligns me.
Mm.
That's what aligns me to harmony and
Yes.
abundance.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think before it was watered down. And for some people, it probably is still really watered down.
Hmm.
Not everybody wants full responsibility for what they're creating.
Hmm. True. Right. That's a
Okay,
hard pill to
that's cool.
swallow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a difference between responsibility and blame, because I know the new age community, and I, it's not one community, but I know like a lot of people could really go into self blame and blaming other people. Well, you manifested that. Well,
Yeah. Right.
and it's just encoded with the core wound of shame and guilt,
Right.
which just, instead of building one up, it really tears them down.
Right. Instead of empowering, like, hey, look at how much control you have over your life, it's, hey, look at what you've done and look at what you've messed up instead. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think,
Yeah.
it's all about the direction, that you're taking, right? As far as the question about like watered down or not, it's, are you ready to dive into the deep end, right?
Yeah.
And people, I think people are more and more. I think that people are getting more comfortable with that. I think there was a little while where, just in the short time that I've been in this world, uh, it was very just astrology and love and light. And, I was like, okay, but there has to be something on the other end of this. Like, that's nice. And it's fun to pull a card here and there and get an affirmation, but that's not the whole picture. And I could tell that. And yeah, diving into shadow was a big piece in my evolution. And even right now, I'm running a course online with some women called the Maiden Rites, and it's about like the rite of passage for coming into womanhood, and it's with all different ages of women, but like to kind of start with the foundation wisdom pieces of the feminine, probably similar to some of the things you talk about. And I'm making sure to add in lots of pieces around like the dark feminine and the rage and the power and how that can manifest as feminine wounding and different things like that. And it's amazing how much more they're interested in those pieces than this like, light goddess type of thing. They're like, yeah, let's talk about rage. They're diving into it a little bit deeper. So yeah, in my work, I'm noticing that more, and it's more fulfilling for me to work with people who want to get their hands dirty, I think.
Dive deep, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. And like with the idea of rage, we've been conditioned to believe that anger is unattractive
Right.
and a woman shouldn't be angry. How many times, I mean, anger has been held against me, right? You sound angry. Well, I am angry.
Yes.
I mean, have you looked at the, and this was in my 20s and 30s, but you know what? The goddess Kali,
Yes, right. I
when
talk about her a lot. Yep.
yeah, she sees things out of balance, and in a rage she is decapitating, she is destroying,
Yes.
right, and beginning anew. And sometimes that's necessary.
Yes.
A lot of times it's necessary. I mean, we see it in Mother Nature.
Right. Yes.
Excuse me.
The cyclical nature of like even winter and the moon and, life, death, life cycles, all of that is this natural thing. And we somehow are trying to stay only in this like light, bright life portion of it, but that doesn't work.
That's right. That's right. I mean, we are whole beings, and we are love, and we are rage, and we are fierce love,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we try to suppress any aspect of that, that's when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's like holding a beach ball underwater. It's gonna
Yes.
pop out eventually. And the longer you can suppress it, and then when it pops out, the greater damage it's going to do. And
Mm,
so going, hey, I'm really feeling angry right now, and expressing that and allowing yourself to be 100% authentic, 100% seen.
hmm.
One of the most healing things I've done for my clients in the past is validating what they feel.
Yes. Right. So simple and so important.
Right?
Yes.
Because we're taught, you should be more forgiving,
Yeah.
just be nice.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Right. And I know, I know I'm probably, I don't know, a couple of decades older than you. I don't know. I'm in my 50s. And so that was a lot of a message
Yes.
for me growing up, was just be nice. Don't hurt anyone's feelings. Oh, you shouldn't be mad about that. Get over it. Right.
Right.
And so embracing all of those emotions makes us a whole being. And quite frankly, that rage can make a lot of difference in the world.
Yes. Yeah, it inspires action a lot of times. Yes. I think rage is
Absolutely.
very powerful, very important. Yeah, and I love the beach ball under the water. I think that's such a great, visual, right? Because I think everybody's tried to do that before, trying to hold it down, and you can tell that it's like it's a fruitless endeavor. It's not it's gonna be taken over, right? At some point, and you're gonna lose that battle. And it's the same thing with trying to pretend like you don't have whatever emotion it is, rage or otherwise.
Yeah, it's exhausting too. I just imagine, and we've done this a lot, trying to float on the beach ball, right? Just like
Yes.
floating on it and holding it down. And it's like
Mm,
you're unbalanced all along. And it's a constant struggle, it's constant effort to
yes.
balance on that beach ball. So it's a constant effort trying to hide our emotions, hide our authenticity, and that's what becomes exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I think that that's such a great example, such a great metaphor of that. Um, yeah, and I think people are ready to start to embrace it. I think it's happening more and more. Um, Gosh, I can only imagine how is it bringing people to like retreats with plant medicine and things like that? Do you feel like a lot of these things bubble to the surface? Because I've only done it, as an individual, right? But you're kind of bringing people into this space. Do you see a lot of that stuff coming to the surface?
Oh, for sure. Even when somebody just says yes
Yeah.
to the retreat, then they're already working with the wisdom of the medicine,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the fear comes up, the sadness comes up, the anger comes up. All of that is starting to surface even before we go into medicine. And
Yes.
that's something we do, Megan and I do in Sophia Mystery School. And Megan's husband, Scott, has joined us as well in
Mm-hmm.
facilitating plant medicine, because we've all had such profound transformations in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
is that we support in preparation before the retreat, preparing the body, the mind, the spirit,
Yeah.
how to process the emotions that come up before, and then how to work with the medicine
Mm-hmm.
while you're in the medicine. So you're working with it. You're not just victim to it, right? Like
Right.
the medicine is working through us, for us to reveal wants to what wants to be healed and released. And then we go into integration afterwards
Yeah.
for a month or two, depending on the medicine, of like, okay, what did we learn? What did we heal? And now how do we show up in the world, this new being, this rebirthed being? And we're
Beautiful.
getting ready to go into retreat the day after tomorrow,
Oh,
Friday. We
wow.
start a retreat. Yeah. And so the animals are coming forward. I dreamed of snakes. Many of our participants are seeing owls.
Mm.
I had coyotes. You said, we don't have to move to the woods. I actually moved to the woods this year.
I mean, I'm jealous. I'll get there one day. It's not a requirement, but it's very nice.
No, right? It's I'm living in Mother Nature, and this is where I get to bring people for one-on-one medicine retreats and into
Amazing.
this forest bath. But the coyotes were howling this morning so loud. And so the medicine is working, the animal medicine is working, all of nature, all of Mother Earth is collaborating with the
Mm,
medicine with the people that we're bringing together to release these illusions so that we can create the harmony of what's promised on a new earth, as we shed shed the skins of the illusions that we have enjoyed
Mm,
playing in so much. And now
mhm.
we've come to this moment of awakening and rediscovering our divinity.
Yeah. Yeah. Really beautiful. That's, it sounds like you're doing some really, really beautiful work. That's kind of, the trajectory that I envision myself in one day. I'm still navigating my offerings to the world, right? As I'm navigating my own
Sure.
healing and journey and all of that, right? It's always evolving. But yeah, giving people the opportunity to sit with like really just reverence for anything, right? Like plant medicines call upon that in a very specific kind of way, but really just letting people tap into the grandeur of this experience, right? Like plant medicine is like, oh my gosh, there's like a whole nother reality overlaid our entire reality. And now I have access to that. But there's, like smaller versions. And so bringing people into the awareness of more like energetic and shamanic realms and all of that is very exciting, very cool. I keep meaning to do an episode in this podcast on my experiences with ayahuasca, but I haven't done one yet. So for some of my listeners, they might be like, "Oh my gosh, I want to know more." And they might be a little bit like new to this topic. Um, for me, I did 11 ceremonies in 11 months. That was like the first time I did it. And then it was just like, phew, let's do it a whole bunch. And now I've taken a little bit of a break. I haven't done it in since September, something like that. So it was quite the year
Wow.
for me, plus other medicines like, interspersed throughout there. How long has that been a piece of your journey, the plant medicine?
A year.
Oh wow. Okay, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, definitely. I have spent the last year, 2022, doing
Hmm.
medicines. I
Hmm.
did ayahuasca 9 times.
Hmm.
I did 5 ceremonies in 5 days.
Yeah.
And then I interspersed psilocybin
Hmm.
with 5-MeO a
I
couple
haven't done that
times.
one yet. I'm waiting for that to come to me.
5-MeO.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard it's very intense, but I'm excited. I really want to try it. It just hasn't presented itself yet.
Yeah, yeah, so profound. All of
Hmm.
them are so profound. And then I finished the year last year with ayahuasca again in
Yeah.
Colombia. We go to Colombia and we actually take groups to Colombia now. And I've spent the last year training.
Mm,
After doing ayahuasca the first time, I knew,
mm,
and Megan knew that we need to bring this to our clients.
mm,
We do deep work, and we take people deep anyway, but then having the experience of the plant medicines, like you, I think you and I had a similar year. It was just like
hmm.
I was just in medicine all
Yes.
year last year.
Yes.
And so we knew we had to bring this, and so we are being continually and
Hmm.
have been trained to support individuals with the medicine.
Hmm.
And yeah, super profound. We just knew it was like, okay, this is our purpose.
Yeah. 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 It's reaching more people. I think that's sometimes that can kind of seem like it is one of the things that's the far reach has watered down maybe a little bit of it, but I think if it's an integrity, right, and it's being honored and integrated and all of those kinds of things, I think that there's so much beauty in it. And of course it depends on like the ayahuasquero that you work with and the culture and the shamans and all of that stuff, but it's great. I'm glad that more and more people are having access and opening up to it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Maya, because we go to the first woman ayahuasca shaman
Oh, beautiful.
in Colombia. And it's a mother daughter team. Love that, since
Mm.
Megan and I are a mother daughter team,
Yeah.
right? And Mama is in her 70s,
Yeah.
and she grew up in the culture of ayahuasca, and their culture is that they give their babies
Yes.
a teaspoon of grandmother, so that they
Hmm.
grow up with the wisdom of
Yeah.
grandmother Aya in their system.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that we recognized, and the reason why that we decided we wanted to bring people to the medicine and give them opportunities with us is because we do focus so much on the preparation, the sacredness of the plant,
Mm,
integration afterwards. I mean, I have heard nightmares from clients in the past who have just gone somewhere and done ayahuasca with a group of
mm-hmm,
20, 30, 40, 50 people,
mm-hmm.
and they drink their medicine and they're just sent away, and all of this stuff is coming up and they feel
Yeah.
unsupported, and then they don't go back to plant medicine again
Right.
because it wasn't a good experience.
Right.
And that's why, I think that's why, and like you, for the past year, we have been, Megan and I, her husband, now my family has been through it. We've had such family healing
Mm,
through the plant medicines. It was an initiation
yeah.
for us. So if you're being called to do this, I really see like your experience has been an initiation
Mm-hmm.
to bring people to the medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. It's I went with my boyfriend. He brought me because we went to Peru. We've been to Peru to do it a couple times. And he brought me down and his aunt also came. And so it's been very cool to have like that family aspect. And her and I have, talked about, it sounds like doing a similar thing that you and your daughter are doing is kind of being the stewards to bring people down and to just be a support and friendly face, because going into a totally new culture, into a totally new experience unlike anything else, right, is really scary, and then leaving and not knowing how to hold it is really
Yeah.
tough. So I think that it sounds like we're kindred in what we want to be offering to the world, and it's amazing that you're doing that.
Wow. Likewise, likewise.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It's such an important piece for our spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
It's fast. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to be victim to our traumas or our past or our other lifetimes
Mm,
anymore. These medicines create a portal
hmm.
for us to at heal all of the lifetimes,
Yeah.
right, that are calling out, to call back those aspects to us, to call back that wisdom to this incarnation now, so that we can walk the planet as
Mm,
the masters that we're capable of being.
hmm. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's had such a profound impact on my ability to walk through the world. And one of the things that I worked on a lot was just like anxiety, I guess, social anxiety, and just
Mm-hmm.
showing up in the world, right? And through all of those ceremonies that I did, like it's not even a thought to me anymore. It doesn't even it doesn't even cross my mind. And I started this journey for my 30th birthday, right? And 29 years I spent just like feeling uncomfortable in my own skin all the time. And it took a few ceremonies and it took some integration and then leaving and then coming back and you got to kind of keep working with it. But yeah, just the fact that it's a lasting change, as long as you keep
Mm-hmm.
up with it and you put time and effort into it, it's a lasting change that is 20 years of therapy all in
Yeah.
one. And my training, my background is as a therapist. I have my master's degree in counseling, so I worked as a traditional therapist for a long time. So I know like that there is a lot of benefit, so much benefit in that. And for most people, they're not going to go out to the jungle, right? Necessarily. They're not running out the door to the jungle. And so therapy is great. And for those who
Exactly.
are for those who are ready for the jungle, it is pretty profound for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Not everybody's going to go to the jungle. And it's great for you to have therapy before you go to the jungle,
Yes, I think so too. You need to be
right?
prepared to a certain extent. Yeah, and now, I don't work as technically a therapist. Now I'm, a coach, right? But having a preparation and like just some awareness of what's going to be brought up in a ceremony, right? Like you have to have some idea of what you're if you want to call them demons or, your shadow aspects, you have to know what some of them are. So you're not just hit upside the head or totally flipped upside down. So some coaching, right? Like something like you provide through your clients and your mystery school and all of that is super fundamental. It's not just about walking out the door and going and drinking medicine. That would be too much.
That's true. That's true. And I actually felt a little hit upside the
Mm-hmm.
head by my shadows, right?
Mm,
It was like, wow, I did not know that was there.
yeah.
Yeah, I healed trauma that I was not consciously aware of.
Yeah.
Um, none of my work I had done with people over the past, it hadn't been revealed, and boom, there it
Wow.
was.
Yeah.
And I had the support from my mentor, Marcy
Mm.
Locke, and she's been doing medicines for 14 years. She's done over 100 ayahuasca journeys,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a psychonaut, right? Like, let's go exploring with the
Yes.
medicine,
Yes.
right? And so I was so thankful that I had her there to support me in processing what was
Mm.
coming up. And I am so transformed. My goal was to be 100% liberated, even though I didn't understand what that meant.
It's a big ask.
I
Yeah.
didn't, it is a big ask. And I can't say I'm 100% liberated, but I never considered that it was like, then you're afraid of nothing. Fear stops you never,
Mm.
right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I get it now.
Yes.
And that is definitely an experience that I have is that fear doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
I no longer believe in the boogeyman. And I
Mm.
wasn't fully aware of how much I feared an outside evil
Mm.
entity.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea that that fear was lurking within me.
Yeah.
And it's not anymore.
Mm.
It's not anymore. And I'll share with you that what the medicine taught me was, as the divine feminine,
Mm-hmm.
we birth the darkness. The
Mm.
darkness is birthed through us. It's an aspect of us, right? And we birth this darkness to have a new experience.
Yeah.
Like you said at the top of the show, the light gets boring.
Yes. 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 Beautiful. I love that. I love that perspective, that's one thing that, this whole journey, my whole spiritual journey has been really transformative in is that like we have everything within us and we're connected to everything. So we also really have nothing to fear, right? Like if we're in charge of our reality and we are a part of everything and there is ultimate oneness and all of those different pieces, it's like, okay, well then what the heck am I afraid of anymore? Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
not that, and in
And
practice, sometimes day to day, that doesn't show up quite that easy, but like the idea.
you get to bring it back in,
Yes.
right? It's like, oh, here I am, choosing fear
Yes.
over liberation.
Right. And it is a choice because like once you know it, you can always come back to it. Once you've been awakened, you can't go back to sleep, right? But it just takes a little bit of reminder and circling back and like, oh, okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
let's calm down the ego a little bit. Let's reassure ourselves and then get back on track.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was such a profound experience in understanding that and how it has changed my life. Because fear is our greatest obstacle, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People don't fulfill their potential every day for fear of what people will think,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's like the biggest boogeyman is,
Yes.
oh my gosh, what will people think of me? And so becoming liberated from fear, like there's darkness out there, like, oh my gosh, what will people think of me? Oh well, they'll judge me. And okay, so if people judge me, there's
Yes.
always a spectrum. People are going to judge me and not like me, and then there's the people who are going to love me too and like go, oh, I want what she has. there's going to be a lot of people who don't want at all what I have. I freak them out.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That's cool. I can accept that. But I don't allow what other people think to stop me anymore.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. That's really profound. I don't know if people realize how much that impacts their life. It's something that I'm, constantly becoming more aware of, right? Putting myself out there in the world over and over again. And I haven't gotten to the other side of it yet. I haven't gotten to where you are, where you're like, I don't care. And I can't wait for that day. Maybe that's a few, medicine ceremonies away for me or something, but I'm getting there, and the awareness of it, right? Of like how big of a block it really truly is for pretty much
Mhm.
everyone out there is incredible. And especially, talk about the feminine wounds and all of that stuff. Good grief. That's, yeah, such a huge part.
Oh, sure. It goes back so far in that, as women, our survival depended on
Hmm.
being approved of,
Uh-huh. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Right? I can say I'm a witch now and I do witchy things every day. Back then, that would be the death of me. That would be a wonderful payday for my husband,
Yeah.
right? To
Right.
turn me in doing my witchy stuff,
Yeah.
right? But now, witchy is what I do.
Yeah.
And it is that part of ourselves that is dying to be expressed, like wanting to be expressed so
Yes.
deeply that, oh, I am more than this physical being. And the plant medicines support that. And I'm not going to live from the past life pain of
Mm,
being burned at the stake or misunderstood,
mm,
right? And
mhm.
and I want to go in there like new level, new devil. Every time I
I
reach
love that. I haven't
up
heard
to
that. That's
go,
great.
yeah, yeah. Every time I reach up to be a greater expanded self of me, a
Mhm.
greater expanded self, I do worry like, oh, what are people going to think about this aspect of me?
Yes.
Right? So I get to overcome that at every level. So I don't think that there's this ultimate liberation. I think there's infinite levels of
Mm,
liberation.
yes.
And until we're like in oneness again, then there's nothing to be liberated from,
Right. And then we start the whole
right?
cycle over.
Then we start the whole cycle over. We get to do it all over again and have so much fun with it.
Yes, yes. Yeah, beautiful. I think that that's so well said. Yeah. So to bring it into like maybe more concrete terms for anyone who's listening and they're like, this all sounds so awesome and like great, okay, I'll put, going and doing plant medicines on my to-do list. But in the meantime, what would you say are some of the like practices in your daily life that have made the biggest impact, or that you do or you recommend for people to, live this way in a full expression?
Definitely. Meditation.
Hmm.
And one of the major meditations I do to strengthen my aura
Hmm.
and to strengthen my connection with divine above and Mother Earth below is called the middle pillar
Hmm.
meditation.
Hmm.
And bringing that light in all the way through me and and strengthening my aura with seeing the energy circulating through me, the energy coming up and around, creating that great torus.
Right.
Doing that at least once a day,
Yeah, I do that one
right?
a lot too. That's good. Hmm.
Yeah, so important because we are first and foremost spiritual beings in a physical body. So bringing your attention to that physicality is so important.
Hmm.
Another one that I am actually, and I've been a coach for over 20 years, and I kind of happened into that through my hypnotherapy business. And I'm studying with Carolyn Elliott now with existential kink,
Hmm.
and she talks about integrating the shadow,
Hmm.
and it is the most profound shadow work I've ever seen, and the most beneficial. And it's about understanding that whatever experience I'm having, I created it either consciously or unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's a situation I don't really like or want, then obviously I created it unconsciously. My conscious mind resists it, but my unconscious self,
Mm-hmm.
my existential, my kinky self is loving the experience of being rejected, right? Or
Yeah.
loving the experience of being judged, and really integrating and celebrating, oh, a part of me really wants this, instead of repressing it, going, I shouldn't want to be judged, but loving that part of myself and going, okay, a
Hmm.
part of me is being fulfilled.
Hmm.
So fulfillment is the only true thing. It's being um what's the word? Not being fulfilled is an illusion. We
Hmm.
are always fulfilled,
Hmm.
always fulfilled. And so doing the existential kink practice is integrating that shadow and understanding whatever experience I'm having is the experience I ultimately wanted, even beneath the surface, and making that desire conscious. So
Mm.
unifying the shadow with the light, unifying the masculine with the feminine, unifying the left and the right brain. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about unification. And so those are the most important things I do on a daily basis. That, and of course, journaling. Like,
Mm.
who am I? What am I feeling today? And like getting it out. People talk about, like, I don't feel heard. I don't feel seen. And they don't even know how they're feeling.
Right.
They're
They're
not
not seeing
listening to
themselves.
themselves.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so bringing those in. And one of the biggest disconnects too, I see, Maya, too, is the compartmentalizing. Like, even if you do your morning routine
Mm-hmm.
and you even have an evening routine, right? We can still compartmentalize it and not bring it into our into our consciousness with every conversation we have,
Yes.
with every interaction we have, with every email we write. Whatever is going on in every moment, it's remembering, oh, if you have children, my children are grown and out. Now I have grandkids, but knowing I am having an exchange with a divine being,
Yes.
and
Right.
how am I showing up for that? We don't have to do it 100% of the time. We don't have to be a perfectionist about it. If we do
Mm-hmm.
it 51% of the time, we're
Mm-hmm.
going to create massive transformation in our daily experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's beautiful. I think that, you came back so many times to like the integration and the unification and really that is the name of the game is how to like bring it all back to center, right? Even that like light pillar meditation is bringing it back to
Yeah.
center and unifying all of the pieces once again because we can get really scattered and we can send our energy in many different directions and goals and things like that yeah, I think for people they really do get caught in, okay, well I'm going to be spiritual for my morning routine and then I have to go to work and I have to put on my like, 3D human
Yeah.
hat and pretend like I don't have feelings and check out from that reality and then I can come back and be myself again or, whatever it is or when I'm with my family I have to be a different person than when I'm meditating and um it's not that it's an easy path to figure out how to integrate the two, but I do think that that's where the real change happens because otherwise you're just always waiting for your entire life to change before giving yourself permission to live a spiritual life and like that's just not realistic. It only is going to start happening when you make it happen, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. And I've worked with so many women in corporate, right? And relationships there can be really rough.
Mm,
Or maybe not in corporate, but working in real estate,
mm,
right? And you do have lots of relationships. And when you shift the internal, those relationships completely shift.
oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. even like, compassion or like, energetic boundaries or whatever it is, right? There's so many different ways of shifting it. It doesn't have to look like one specific thing, but just having an awareness of your capability, I think.
And absolutely, there's so few of us doing this kind of thing in the world,
Mm,
right? When you gather your light, when you understand that you are affecting the energy and
yes.
people are responding to that energy, it puts you um it puts you ahead of the game. It puts you
Mm-hmm.
at an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is just in reaction mode. And if you're
Totally.
going in as cause, like I am the cause of harmony, I
Yes.
am the cause of understanding,
Yes.
I am the cause of, seeing all sides,
Mm,
then you're at an advantage
right.
because you're playing at a higher level
Right.
and everyone is reacting to that higher frequency.
Right. Frequencies want to be resonant with one another. So if you can hold yours steady enough, then everybody else will shift to meet you there. That's, the practice that I'm kind of working on the most recently is like my job as a coach, as a healer, as whatever I want to call myself, is to have just like an immaculate frequency and to
Yeah.
allow people to come into my reality and align with that because they see the light in it. And like that is my whole job, that other things will happen and occur in conversations and et cetera, et cetera. But really, that's my top priority. And I think that if more people
Yeah.
could tap into that, it would make such a big difference. Not that I'm perfect at it yet by any means, but like,
And we don't have to be.
no, right. But like realizing that there is power in just,
Yeah.
like getting your own shit in order, basically.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
your own stuff straight.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And shaking it out is another thing,
Mm-hmm.
between clients, shaking out the energy,
Yes.
doing some breath work, all of those things, those energetic pieces that so many people say, I don't have time to do that in my workday. You make time for that and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be at your peak
Right.
more and more. But it's considering the body. It's just not mind, right?
Right.
It's not just mindset. It's like shaking the energy out of the body. It's
Mm-hmm.
breathing it out, sounding it out, toning it out, and
Yeah.
coming back to your center. So
Right.
all of those things are part of my daily practice, throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. That's so awesome. It's been really great to hear, your perspective. It sounds like we do a lot of similar things and I'm so happy to hear that you're out there in the world like sharing these different practices everywhere from, the really concrete somatic practices to, all the way up through the realms. I think that that's really incredible. Do you have any things that you're dreaming or bringing into the world or looking forward to for yourself or for your business?
Oh, absolutely. We're taking a group to Colombia in July
Awesome.
this year. So we're taking a small group. We do small, intimate groups to make sure, everybody's a synergistic match and
Mm-hmm.
compatible with each other. We're doing that. We'll be doing more medicine retreats in the fall as well.
Mm-hmm.
And here in my home in the mountains, I bring private clients in to have their own one-on-one experiences and have their own expansion to realign with who they are.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Really awesome. And I'll link all of your information for people to find you in the show notes and everything like that. So if you want to reach out to the Sophia Mystery School, if you want to reach out to Michelle herself or any of those kinds of things, you can find all of her stuff linked. And then I'll also have a post about it on my Instagram. So you can go, anybody listening can go and find you there as well. Yeah, any other last pieces or things that you want to mention?
Just thank you so much. Thank you so much. And know that for the listeners out there that we're whole beings. We
Mhm.
are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and not allowing that just to be some fun phrase, but living as that spiritual being will create harmony in your life. You don't have to compartmentalize. It's not like, how do I heal this relationship? How do I make more money? How do I create the work that I really love? It's like, if you focus on that spirituality first and foremost, you will be guided.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Amen. Aho. Well said. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, and I will catch you in the next one. Go and check out Michelle and all that she has to offer.
Awesome. Thank you, Maya.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really great conversation. It took like a fun little turn there. I hope that that's okay, the direction that we ended up going.
It was perfect.
Okay, good,
It
good.
was
Can I
good.
ask where you're located? I was curious about that.
I'm in Arizona, the mountains of Arizona.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
It looked, I could tell. I'm from Arizona, and I just moved to Vermont in December from Arizona. So
Where did you live in Arizona?
I lived in I'm originally from Prescott, and then I lived in Phoenix, and I've lived in Flagstaff, and then most recently Sedona.
We just moved to Prescott
Yeah.
in March.
Yeah, I love
Hmm.
Prescott. I really do. I think it's really awesome. My best friend still lives there. I'm coming to visit, or going to visit in a couple months because I actually really miss it. I was like so done with it. It's not, the desert isn't necessarily my favorite thing, but Prescott and the high desert and Flagstaff and Sedona, like I really have been missing it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, the mountains. We are getting inundated with snow now, though.
I
We're up in
know.
high, yeah, we're up in Highland Pines. This is
Okay.
our first year here. And
Yes.
so we're above 6,000 feet.
Yeah.
And it is a blizzard out there now. And we've gotten, almost 2 feet of snow this year. And it's
Yes.
still piling up out there. It's crazy.
I know. I have friends in Flagstaff and they're just getting hammered nonstop. It's crazy. Like they have more snow than I do here in Vermont. And I was not expecting that. We're having like a warm winter relatively. And Arizona is having a crazy time. Even Sedona's been getting a bunch of snow. It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my daughter Megan is down in Anthem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's been complaining. She's like, it's raining all the time. We
Oh,
moved here
it's
for the sun.
the rain in like the Phoenix area is so nice though. That's always
Yeah.
the best. She should appreciate it while she has it.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
great. Cool. Cool. I had kind of an Arizona, you have like an Arizona vibe behind you. I
It's
can
true,
tell.
huh?
I'm very honed in on Arizona aesthetics.
It's true.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Well
Well,
done.
yeah, great. I will like I said, I'll link everything. If there's like a specific um website or specific contact information you want me to have, you can email that to me and I'll add that into the show notes here. And then I also do a post on my Instagram when a new episode comes out. And I usually have, if it's like a guest episode, I'll have a picture of the guest. Is there a photo that you would want me to use? Either, it could be a logo or a photo of you or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have Tori send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Okay. Um, and then when will this go live? Do you have any idea?
So I think it'll probably go live. I have an episode scheduled for this week, and I normally put it out on Thursday or Friday. And so this one will be for the following week. So Thursday or Friday of next week. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so I'll have Tori send you a photo. If you'll
Okay.
send the recording, this
Yes.
recording, we can share it on, I'll have, if you edit it, I imagine you're gonna edit this.
Hmm.
Um, we'll put it on our YouTube channel as well. And then we
Awesome.
can link you.
Cool. Great. That sounds wonderful. Um, yes, so normally I don't do much with the video. If you guys like want me to edit it, I can, or I can just send it over and you guys can chop it up however
Yeah,
suits
you
you.
can send it over and we'll have
Okay.
Tori can cut it off.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah, well, let me know if there's anything else. It was really awesome chatting with you.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk later.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.